Cool. Awesome. That took like 3 minutes. Oh man, this week has been a week, and I'm getting ready to talk about the Luteal phase, but it has been a ride this week. It has been, man, it's been crazy. It's actually, this has probably been one of the worst cycles that I've had in a really, really, really long time. I look like this because we just got out of church a couple of hours ago, and it's Sunday, and my son wanted me to wear red lipstick today. He really, really likes it when I wear red lipstick, which is kind of cute. Like, I thought it was kind of cute, but anyways, yeah, it's been quite the ride for me. I have PMDD, and PMDD, I don't wish it on anyone, on any girl. It is a really, really, really difficult thing to deal with. It affects all areas of your life. It happens 2 weeks before your period starts. Up to 2 weeks before your period starts, and mine is in full swing. It's been in full swing for the past couple of days now. It started last week. It started right at the beginning of my ovulatory phase, which is a really horrible thing to happen, is when you have PMS and ovulation at the same time. I'm not new to it. I've been here many, many times. The worst thing about it is it cranks up your anxiety. It will make it 50,000 times worse, and you just don't feel right in your head. You just feel completely depressed. Like, that's how I feel right now. I've been battling with my depression lately because of it. I went to church this morning, and I just kind of just sat there, and I just felt so low, which is one of the things I want to talk about right now in the luteal phase that causes that low feeling. So when you enter in, because we just recently talked about ovulation in my last video, the next phase is your luteal phase. You go from your ovulatory phase to your luteal phase. So a lot of times people like, I can't remember the word, but there are people that really, they really dissect and like research the menstrual cycle for women. And they like to put them in categories as in seasons. So the menstrual phase is your winter phase. The follicular phase is your spring phase. The ovulatory phase is your summer phase. Your luteal phase is your fall phase. And then back to winter again. Right now, I am in my fall phase. I am in luteal. Now, when anybody thinks about fall, the first thing that you think of is things dying, things shedding, things changing colors, things kind of low, very, very calm. There's not much going on. It can be gloomy. It's kind of cold, rainy. It's not very lively. It's not very fresh. There's not a lot going on. Now, me, when I'm in this phase, like I said, I have PMDD. Mine's worse. I feel extremely, extremely low. I get really depressed. I'm not satisfied with anything. Absolutely nothing. Nothing makes me happy. I'm very, very pessimistic. I'm very negative. I'm very crabby. I'm probably very annoying to my family members, especially my husband. I cry all the time. All the time. I cried 4 times yesterday. I cried like 3 times before that. I cried this morning at church 3 times at church. Probably gonna cry again today. I'm very mean. I'm gonna be honest. During my luteal phase, I get very mean. And my moods just are all over the place. They're up and down. They're up and down. And usually in autumn, you notice that the sun is up and down. It'll get cloudy, and then it'll get sunny, and then it'll get cloudy, and then it'll get sunny. And there's this thing that goes around that people always talk about, that we're in that season where, when you're in fall, that you have to put on a jacket in the morning, but by the afternoon you're sweating to death because it's hot. That's kind of the way it is with the luteal phase. You're very low one minute, and you're putting on the jacket, and you're very low, and then the next minute you're fine, and you're flying through your house, and you're just, you're chipper as can be, and then you're back to being low again. And it's just like the sun's going in and out of the clouds, just like in autumn, like it usually does. The other thing that I have is I tend to have physical symptoms. I will have backaches, my bones hurt, I crack more, which is funny. I crack, snap, and pop. My bones will act up. My lower back will start to hurt. I can barely walk. I start to have muscle aches and pains, indigestion. I get really bad gas. I'm very sensitive to a lot of things that I eat. I cannot eat certain things during my luteal phase. I get diarrhea like left and right. Gas pains, burping, farting. So that's like the physical aspect of it. My face usually will be extremely oily. I woke up this morning and I had like just a shine effect on my face. It was all oily and gross, puffy. I'll get really puffy in my eyes. My skin just doesn't look good. Even when I put makeup on, I still don't think that I look good. Like I put my makeup on and I'm like, ugh, it just doesn't look as settled as it usually does during any other part of my cycle. It just looks very muddled and it looks very, like it's just sitting there. It's just, bleh, it looks like crap to me. I get very secluded. I don't want to be around my family at all. I don't want to be around not a single soul. I basically live my life in my truck. I will hide a lot. I'll go to stores just for no reason, just to literally get away from my family. They call it being insular during this cycle. You just really like your own company. You don't dig company. You're not very sociable. You're just, because you're not feeling it. You're not in the right mindset. You're not popping. You're not ready to jump in the car and go someplace, because up here, you're not with it. You're not feeling it. A lot of problems that women have during this phase too is that we make very impulsive decisions. I am prone to doing this. All my life, I've struggled with PMS when it comes to impulsive decisions. Cutting my hair, dyeing my hair, getting rid of things, selling things, permanent, drastic decisions that I couldn't get out of. One of them is the place that I'm living in now. It was a impulsive PMDD decision. Whoa, 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 whoa. My phone just gave up and now I might not be able to put this back. My phone's been overheating a lot too. Okay, let's see if I can. That was like that. That was weird. Very, very impulsive. Like, to the point when I do start my period, I'm like, why did I do that? One time, a couple of times actually, I was like this. I was a blonde, platinum, and just decided to dye my hair black. Lights out. I literally just dyed my hair black, and yeah, that's a permanent decision. You're not gonna be able to change that for at least 6 to 12 months, and it was disastrous. It put me in depression. It made me very, very upset. And it was expensive. It was expensive. It was an expensive fix. It took almost $200 in a salon for them to correct it, plus my own money at home. I had to strip it at home. I had to do all this stuff and then go to the salon and spend like another $200 for them to correct it. It was hell. Selling things, getting rid of things that are precious to me that I'm not really thinking, because when you're in this phase, your anxiety can sometimes take over and you start to get anxious. You start thinking of things that aren't real. You start to, and PMDD can do this as well. You start to believe things that are not true. You start to think like, there's a girl that I follow here on YouTube as well as on Instagram. Her name is, she's still glamorous. That's what her channel is called. But her name is Casey. She too suffers from PMDD. And she mentioned in one of her recent videos that she felt like she was losing her mind because of it. She was at a gas station and she was pumping gas, and her daughter had gone into the store. And while she's outside pumping this gas, she's thinking of all these she says she calls it the movie starts playing in her head. And she starts believing her daughter was going to get killed. She was going to get kidnapped, all this stuff. And she said, it's my PMS. It's PMDD making me believe these things. And it's true. She's not lying. I start to believe we're going to go homeless. We're going to lose our house. We're going to starve to death. That is the number one thing that I think of. We're going to starve to death. I don't know why, but I always think my children are going to starve to death. I think that we're going to lose our children. We're going to, all this stuff, as she calls it, the movie, will start playing in my head. It's your hormones. It's literally the decline of estrogen. It is the decline of your progesterone. It's all of it. It's making you believe things that are not true. Scientists call it, women start to get a little schizophrenic. You start to get a little, not schizophrenic, I'm sorry, wrong word. You start to get a little paranoid. They're not kidding. I should not be drinking this. That's another thing you don't want to do during the luteal phase. So now I guess I should talk about that. Your diet will change through each phase of your cycle. Winter, spring, summer, and autumn. During your autumn phase, what do we usually eat in autumn? And what do we usually talk about a lot in autumn that people are usually talking about? Squash, pumpkins, turkey, stuff like that. People are talking about like ground foods, like harvest foods. That's usually the things that you're supposed to be eating during this cycle. It is very strange how this works, but it's the truth. Yams, sweet potatoes. I am a total fan of sweet potatoes when I'm in this cycle. Dark chocolate, warming foods like soups, because you're kind of like not really wanting to be in the kitchen. You're going to be on a low energy. Soup is easy. It's just pour it in a bowl. You're done. Thick ground vegetables like squash, apples are a good thing to eat. Prunes, because actually you can get constipated as well during the luteal phase. Things will start backing up because your hormones are slowing down. The other thing is too, your sleep is going to go out the window. Usually, not for all women, but usually sometimes you'll struggle with sleep. Me, I wake up probably every couple of hours. I'm waking up probably, I mean, it doesn't help that right now my 4-year-old's going through this weird phase right now where he's waking up in the middle of the night. We don't know what the heck's going on with him. He's only 4 years old, so he's going through this weird thing right now where he'll just wake up. And he'll just like, he'll wake up at like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning and he's ready to go. And we're like, ha ha ha, no. But yeah, your hormones play a full effect in that. You'll be tired during the day. And then when you go to bed, you can't sleep. It's literally normal. It's just a part of the cycle. There was something I was going to say, and I can't remember what it was. Oh yeah, did I mention mind fog and forgetfulness? That's one of them. The other thing is too, you will gain weight. It's not actually weight, it's water retention. You will start to get bloated. You start to feel just like you look like a balloon. You'll look in the mirror and you'll be like, why does my face look fat? You're not fat. It's actually water retention, and it can go straight to your face. Like I said, I get puffy. My eyes get really puffy. My face will get really puffy. It's weird. And with each part of your cycle, so like I said, there's, the food thing. So in your menstrual cycle, you'll usually want to eat foods that are, the luteal and the menstrual cycle are a lot alike because, I mean, they're pretty close together. The only difference is with the menstrual cycle is that your hormones are starting to regulate themselves, and a lot of the PMS symptoms will start to die off, and you won't feel as retarded as you usually do during the luteal phase. So during the menstrual phase, it's still dark chocolate, warming foods, things like that. But now they're starting to introduce the things that we usually eat in the winter, which is like roast beef. Beef has a lot of iron and protein in it. They cannot stress this enough because you're losing a lot of iron and protein when you're on your period. Things like that. Beef stews, hearty stews, even like venison, things like that, deer meat, stuff like that. Anything that's meat-wise that you can get your hands on is really good for you during your menstrual cycle. When you hit your follicle phase, now you're in spring. Usually when I'm in my follicle phase, I don't really feel like eating that much. I'm usually okay during this time. I don't really have much of an appetite. I have to like force myself to eat. But I catch myself eating very light things. I'll eat a lot of fruits and vegetables like carrots, shrimp. I eat fish. I'm really into fish during this cycle, part of my cycle. Like I said, I'm not that hungry. If we go to McDonald's and the kids are getting all these cheeseburgers and stuff, I'm like, ugh. The only thing I'll eat is like a fillet of fish. I don't eat anything else. And then when you hit your ovulatory phase, now your body is trying to prepare itself for pregnancy. You're going to want to eat more things like salmon, like protein-rich foods. A lot of things that you eat in the summertime, lots of fruits and vegetables, and water. They cannot stress water enough. I never used to think anything of this. I never was like, what the heck? The thing is when you do start your period, when you eventually do, you lose water when you're on your menstrual cycle. And I said this during my ovulation video. And when you're in your luteal phase, it is very important to make sure that you are paying attention to this. Now is the time to prepare your body for your period. You're going to want to make sure that you're eating high iron foods, drinking a lot of water. I mean, don't like overdo it to the point where you kill yourself, but keep yourself hydrated. And they do say to rest. They say that it's usually around the time that you're just kind of like tying up loose ends. It's kind of like when you go out in the fall and you have to rake the leaves off the ground because you're getting ready, you're getting things cleaned up. It's kind of the same thing. You're kind of just getting things done. What I usually do a week or two before my period, I try to get as much done as I possibly can. So I'll try to catch up on the laundry. I try to, anything that's like coming up, like schedule wise, like if I have a lot of important dates that I notice are going to be during my period, I will call those people and reschedule, because I know that I'm not going to feel like it. I get really bad cramps, and I'm again up half the night with cramps. Don't really feel like going out during the day. So I basically just try to get anything finished that needs to be finished before my period starts. So I'm trying to think if there's anything else during the luteal phase that I should mention. It is a very confusing time for some women. It is a very sad time for some women. You'll go from feeling on top of the world during the ovulatory phase to I'm the best, and you feel like you're all of that, to all of a sudden you don't. You just feel really low, really sad, really like nothing's going right. You just feel like this is it. This is my life. It's all a lie. Everything that your mind is telling you is not true. It is literally just your hormones. These neighbors right here, they are weird. They are weird. They literally been out there since 8 o'clock this morning, just sitting on their front porch. They never go in their house. Never. Neither do these neighbors. They never go in their house. Like, they're not out there right now, but it's strange. You're not losing your mind. This isn't the end of the world. It's the luteal phase, and it's just a part of it. I do highly 100% recommend women to research every certain aspect of their cycles, and to chart and log their symptoms to make sure that they're keeping track of these things, because if you don't, it makes it harder. It makes it really harder because you don't know where you're at in your cycle. And I've been there. When I had my miscarriage last year, I didn't know where I was. I was completely lost. I had a period for like a week and a half, and then all of a sudden, of course it wasn't a period, I was lost. I didn't know where I was. I started having massive anxiety. I was so confused. It was crazy. Like when I had my miscarriage, it was bad. Anyways, that's all I want to talk about. This was luteal. Next video that I'll be doing is the menstrual cycle. Yeah, and that'll be the next video that I do.